There is so much happening in WoW right now. Blizzard cooked. Huge nerf plus best season. I agree. So far, I mean, just off this title, best season, it's been a really good season. I've been enjoying the Mythic Plus running. I've been enjoying everything about the season. I think it's a good time. Let's see what kind of positive video Beliar's putting out here about World of Warcraft. Let's see what's going on.
Welcome back to the news, everyone. It has been a kind of crazy last while. Blizzard are seemingly never happy unless
the volume so low?
Something, even if that is nerfing their own nerfs, which is pretty much what happened to Brann. Thankfully, though, it's mostly our favorite this time around. There are loads of War Within things to talk about, but as it turns out, if you've only been looking at War Within, you might be missing out, because while we weren't looking, Blizzard basically went and made Classic Plus.
It's Monday. I mean, it's not me. I'm going to pull the mic away from my mouth a little bit so that way I don't sound so much louder than the video. But yeah, the volume on the video is kind of low. It's not me. I hired it all the way.
Discovery is very, very different to how it played whenever I last checked in. And it's actually kind of newsworthy.
Yeah, just higher your volume.
It's Scarlet shit. People love Scarlet shit. No better place to begin than...
What the fuck? And then the slide was very loud. What is going on here? Bellular, you got to fix the shit. I don't know.
Brann Bronzebeard. He's had a while.
Now he's louder.
He was nerfed like crazy last week. Way too much. Then he was buffed up over the following weekend. So where does he actually stand now? Is he good? Is he bad? Honestly, I'd say he's okay. So if you're a DPS player, the whole free ride that you had was over. Brann tanking is competent enough at tier 8, but he's a complete just wet tissue paper at a tier 11. DPS players should not take tank Brann above a tier 8. So if you're DPS, you're much better taking healer Brann and basically playing like you did last season. You know, interrupting, stunning enemies, watching for your potions on the floor, all that stuff. Now, if you're a healer, you really had a bad time for a few days.
I said it even last season, though. If you're playing Delves and you're running, like you're pushing pushing levels as high as you can, the best way to push a high level, you know, to try to push higher than your item level allows to go healer Brann and just take your time. Take your time, pick up those potions, make small pulls, and just go through that thing. There's no timer, just remember that. So if you take your time, you'll get through it and actually push the key high, push the level higher.
But after the last wave of buffs, I'd say he can now survive decently well. He is not as strong as he used to be, but certainly the changes include things like him taking way less AoE damage. That was a big problem. He would just get one shot by AoEs because
he just stands in it. That's the thing. So he doesn't move out of AoE. So yeah, they got to either make him smarter so he actually gets out of AoE, or just reduce the damage he takes from AoE. And the latter is easier, which is what they did.
Sometimes too stupid to move out of them. So he's quite a bit better, but even with that being fixed, he still does take a lot of damage on tier 11s, and that means that healers do not get any form of free ride. You will have to play extremely carefully. I guess imagine you're playing a Cataclysm Heroic, and you really do have to get every mechanic right. You see, the major issue here is actually his nerfed damage, because, well, he doesn't kill things as quickly, meaning he takes more damage, meaning you are attacked for heals. But I've got good news. I've got a way around that. The Pacifist Rig Curio does unbelievable amounts of burst damage. It drops from the underpin. That does include when he invades your delve, but also just killing the underpin normally. And once it's at rank 4, it has enough...
So if you want to get him to invade your delve, does it... Correct me if I'm wrong. If you use one of the map things, the buffs... God, I can never remember any of the shit's names. But you know the little maps that you can get that buff your delve so you get better loot? Doesn't that like guarantee that underpin is going to show up? Or is it that... No, those things drop off of underpin. So no, it doesn't guarantee it. You got to use the 2,000 currency. Yeah, you got to use the 2,000 currency to get the fucking thing that makes him pop up. Yeah, I know. No, I was wrong about that. He gives you the maps, which gives you the better loot. Yeah, undercoin. Yeah, you got to use the 2,000 undercoin to guarantee that he pops up. That's what it is. And then if you get that to happen, okay, then you can get a shot at getting this curio, or this ability for Brann. That's what it is.
To one-shot elite groups.
Underpin. Yeah, I had him randomly spawn in the first delve I did this season, so I got lucky. And then he gave me one of the little map things to buff the shit. So that's good, but I didn't get this ability for Brann, unfortunately.
Now, if you've only used it at tier 1 or 2, it really does feel kind of useless, but at tier 4, it's pretty damn amazing. Should I say rank 4? As an example, we managed to clear.
Well,
a
Sam,
tier
you are
11 delve
no, I'm not
on
getting good
an
at delves.
extremely under-geared healer. It was about eye level 604, right after the huge nerf, right? So not even when Blizzard then went and made Brann a bit stronger. No, at the worst possible time on a 604 healer, using that curio, we were able to get through a tier 11 delve. The trick was to just go very, very slowly. Can't say it was much fun, one mob at a time. And then when the green circle appears, which signals the rig spawn, you just go and pull the next elite and you watch it melt. Which is honestly kind of frustrating. It's not
that's
as
a
bad
slow
now
strat.
because Brann was buffed, but if you do feel like you need a bit of strategic creativity to get some progress, that curio at rank 4 will really help you. As for the rest of the changes, there are some delve-specific ones. I think the biggest one, though, is the Hobgoblin trio is now a Hobgoblin duo, so basically no more instantly dying to 3 huge auto attacks at the same time.
That's good.
So, at the end of the day, where do we stand? I would basically say this does feel closer to what Blizzard actually intended, and I do think it is way healthier for the game. It will suck if you were enjoying just unkillable Giga Chad Brann, giving your characters essentially free progress and loads of gilded crests. Yes, that obviously felt amazing.
Yeah, but Blizzard don't want that.
If a completely, say, 50 or 60 item levels under
Holy shit, that's loud.
To destroy.
SJTV, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our Scourge. You looted the gold pile too when Underpin. Yeah, I got the thing. So I looted Underpin after I killed him, and I got the little map buff for the next time I run a what's it called, a delve. So that's good. Specifically the awakened delves. God, there's so many fucking names in this damn thing now that I can't keep track of it all. But basically, yes, I looted the little map buff, but I didn't get the Brann ability. It's not a guaranteed drop. There's just a chance that it drops, and I didn't get it.
Foundation character is able to max out the hardest content. That
Bountiful
does
delves,
kind of
yes.
break how progression works.
I'm thinking of awakened raids, bountiful delves, looped up delves, whatever they want to call them. There's so many damn names and different triggering things in this game now. The crest system by itself is a complete shit show. I'll never remember what the fuck those are called.
For the game in the long term. The initial nerfs were way too much. I think they've walked it back to a better position now. If you're a player of modern,
I don't get why they can't just call them like heroic delves. I don't know. Just keep the name nomenclature standard. Bountiful delves.
Do not skip this because it is proper news that you should hear about. Okay, Classic Plus is kind of the dream that lots of people shared back in 2019. The idea, right? Yeah, Classic's kind of cool, but nostalgia, I kind of want something new. So people thought, what if Classic was actively developed instead of just, well, moving on to the next expansion? People thought about old school RuneScape. I guess you'd think, what if we got to see more of Azeroth itself without all of the game-changing crazy expansion things? Well, Season of Discovery didn't start out like that. It was kind of creative content reuse.
Yeah.
Phase 8 actually proves that it really is becoming Classic
It's
Plus.
Classic Plus. They're giving them a new raid, man. They're literally doing a Scarlet Monastery raid. That's pretty damn cool. Now, am I going to go play Classic right now? No, I'm not. I'm not a Classic guy. I just don't care for it. I don't care to progress in a game that I feel like was an old game. I like to progress in what's new. To me, that just feels like my time is not being wasted as much, even though I'm playing a game at the end of the day, so I am wasting my time. But it's great to see. I think a Scarlet Monastery raid is pretty damn cool, and I like just watching and keeping up with that side of it and seeing what it looks like.
So
but I'm not going to go play it.
We're getting the Ashbringer questline. It is finally there in Classic.
That's
so at
crazy.
long last, warriors, paladins, and obviously hunters will be able to undertake a huge old adventure to wield the Ashbringer. This is very cool. If you were playing the game, in the early 2000s, this was the kind of thing that was rumored that really got people excited. That questline's coming as part of a broader Scarlet phase that's bringing loads of content around Tyr's Hand and the future spot of the Death Knight intro scenario. So a lot of the people you meet here are going to get slaughtered.
Are they going to introduce Death Knights into Classic? Because that would be cool. That would actually be cool to have Death Knights in the Classic game, because Death Knights did exist in Classic WoW. There was one Death Knight. Obviously I'm not going to remember his name, but he had a quest line in this version of the game where, like, legitimately you talked to him. He talked about being a Death Knight and everything else. Now, they're not playable, obviously, but could they create playable? I think they could. Death Knights in Classic WoW. Now, how would the spell animations and stuff work? Because those spell animations didn't exist back then, so they would have to add them to the game in a Classic version. But we'll see.
Anyway, you get
That would
things
be
like
cool.
scarlet uniforms, right? That you wear to infiltrate and sort of talk with the Scarlets. That's fun. Or if you're a bit sus, to roleplay as the Scarlets. There's a Scarlet Enclave raid. Yes, a full Scarlet raid that promises some really cool lore. As an example, like a Scarlet Crusade Dragon, and even our first look at Lillian Voss. Of course, when we met Lillian as an undead in Cataclysm, we knew that she had a history with the Scarlets, but we didn't really know how she lived or died. Well, now she's actually a boss in this raid, so I suppose that answers that, which is really cool. And that's exactly the kind of filling in the blanks of lore that I think we wanted from Classic Plus. It's really cool. And with this, we're essentially seeing Blizzard move away from reusing and remixing content, and actually just them
Adding
making
new content,
for Classic. I mean, in another world, this would just have been a full patch for World of Warcraft called The Scarlet Crusade, which would have been awesome. So, yes, you can think of this as the Classic Plus patch. It's dropping April 8th. But
I'm being honest. I'm jealous of Classic right now. I've always wanted more Scarlet related content, and unfortunately, the only version of new Scarlet related content that we got in retail WoW is the slaughtering of them at the retaking of Gilneas shit, which was complete and utter trash. They literally just used the Scarlet Monastery and Scarlets as a throwaway, like we're going to kill them off real quick kind of thing. It was dumb, to be honest. I would love to see some bigger Scarlet lore. If you guys remember, the Scarlets were putting out basically letters and pamphlets about how Anduin is like the false king of Stormwind and everything else. And I thought we were going to get more stuff on that, and then we never did. That just never came to fruition. Maybe we'll see it in Midnight, who knows? But right now, the Scarlets in WoW, they're just kind of, throwaways. Like, every time they need some NPCs to kill, oh, yeah, they're Scarlet NPCs. I'd like some new lore about them. That'd be cool. Like what they're getting in Classic.
Technically not all good news. This is obviously not Classic Plus. It is Season of Discovery. It's got a 150% XP buff on right now, so a few people in my guild are trying to get maxed out in enough time to enjoy it, and they have already encountered, though, tons of issues while trying to catch up, which, was a little unfortunate. So all the progression is vertical, and it's not really that well mapped out. Essentially, Season of Discovery, because of how it sort of came together, can end up being a large, impenetrable mess. It's a mess of cool stuff, but to some a little
But that's
bit of
Classic.
A mess. So one trouble Blizzard may have.
That's Classic, though. I mean, the catch-up mechanics are a retail thing. That's the truth. Original WoW was always like, if you joined, even as recent as Wrath of the Lich King, if you joined Wrath of the Lich King mid-expansion, you couldn't just jump into the newest raid. You would have to go do the old content to gear up enough to be able to do the current content. The catch-up mechanics didn't exist back then. So, yeah, to say that, if you join Classic now, you're going to have to catch up. Yeah, that's a Classic thing. That's how it was. And people like that about it. They don't want catch-up mechanics because people always complain that catch-up mechanics makes it feel like they can just sit out for a season and come back when the catch-up mechanics are in. We like mustard mechanics.
New players into this. New players will want to go and
grind quest attunes. Yep.
So very new, so very cool. It may just take a little bit of learning to actually get in there. And that brings me to why I'm actually talking about.
You're probably right,
today.
SJ.
It's not necessarily to just say, go play Season of Discovery, but it is to say that Blizzard has a humongous opportunity.
Catch-up was introduced in ICC. Yes, exactly. That's why mid-expansion you couldn't, but yeah, in ICC, that was, I think, I don't know if that's like canon, but that was the first time that I remember any sort of like, okay, you have ways to catch up quickly and not go back and do the old content. And ICC was the first time I believe that ever happened.
Opportunity. Once Season of Discovery is done, Blizzard should repackage it, repackage all that content, clean it up a little bit, launch it then as a new product called Classic Plus, and then develop it as Classic Plus. They've got the content, they don't necessarily have the right box to put it in because it has grown from an experiment.
Yeah.
But man, it's really yielded some cool shit, and I would not be surprised
it has.
if that was actually...
That's a mistake, though, on Blizzard's part. To call it Season of Discovery, do you guys remember when they revealed Season of Discovery? Had they just called it Classic Plus and literally went with the marketing that basically the entire WoW community had already done for them, I feel like it would have had a more popular launch. Now, I'm not saying Season of Discovery is not popular. It's been popular here and there as patches come out. It's always got it goes up and down its numbers just like every other version of WoW. But I just feel like calling it Classic Plus would have been more hyped. I feel like they tried too hard. Their marketing team fumbled the ball there. Like calling it Season of Discovery. A lot of people were like, oh, that's not what we wanted. when in fact it is legitimately Classic Plus. They just didn't call it that. I feel like that was a miss on their part.
Blizzard's plan. And for our next story, Mythic Plus. And if you're not a key pusher, again, do not skip this segment because this time it's actually different. So, if you've felt like you wanted in Mythic Plus, but you basically just felt it would be too stressful, too hard, just impenetrable to get into, now's actually the time to give it a shot. Blizzard are nerfing Mythic Plus basically every week, and they've actually just went and done it again. As a bit of a recap, right? In the last 2 weeks, there's been a massive 10% nerf to everything across all of Mythic Plus, even including Mythic Zero.
Yeah.
And almost every dungeon has been individually targeted with nerfs as well. Just massive health and damage nerfs to specific bosses, mobs.
Trying to make it as easy as possible.
Basically the ones that were causing the most problems for people's runs. A good example is, say, the first room of Cinderbrew Meadery, which was a total nightmare, so they've removed the biggest problem, which was Chef Chewie's aura. Loads of...
I would say first room of Cinderbrew Meadery, early on, pre-nerfs, I haven't played it post, but pre-nerfs, this was the most, like, leaved, or like, leaver's gonna leave early in the run room in the entire game. Because every single group, Cinderbrew Meadery, if you didn't get those first couple pulls off perfectly, the group fell apart in the first room, which is sad for DPS who would wait like 45 minutes to form a group, only for the group to fall apart 2 minutes into a Cinderbrew Meadery run. So I'm glad they did these nerfs.
Down a bit, so you've actually got time to move and react. It's kind of cutting down on that feeling of a bunch of UI things have happened, and now everybody's dead. I guess you just go again and kind of hope it won't be a big shit show next time. I think that's how Mythic Plus ends up feeling at those lower levels when you've got players who are not already super skilled and embedded in the way of playing it.
Yeah.
So Blizzard are just trying to solve those problems, and between these giant nerfs and improved crest drops, which were added late last season, Mythic Plus is now substantially less frustrating and more rewarding than it was
better.
before.
Yeah, it's better.
Now, it's not easy. It is still hard to time high keys, but what has changed is forgivingness. Basically, a lot of the unforgiving bullshit mechanics, the stuff that just did not feel fun, didn't necessarily feel fair, almost felt like...
And don't forget they got rid of the death penalty at early keys too. I think it's 2 and 3. There's no more death penalties.
Blizzard,
it's good stuff.
Are you sure those mechanics are supposed to overlap in such a punishing way? Those things are kind of all gone now. So we're working on a full video on Mythic Plus. We'll be diving into the data, but for now I can at least say the vibes in the community are actually really good. And
Wobbles, no, these changes will go into effect at reset. The only changes that it went into effect as a hotfix are the trinket buffs, the 20% buffs across the board to like almost all trinkets. That was a hotfix. The rest of these are reset.
About justice and punishment. So, a lot of people are upset that basically exploits in Mythic Plus end up ruining leaderboards, and they've been asking Blizzard to do something about it. It obviously feels terrible if loads of leaderboard places are just because people exploit it. There's no word on that yet from Blizzard, but NetEase have kind of went and shown Blizzard how it's done. That's because just under 9,000 players in Chinese servers got their Season 1 titles and achievements revoked. But NetEase did not stop there. They just went and shamed every individual player on the official Chinese World of Warcraft website. Now, there are some characters that have censored names, but basically it's just kind of old school name and shame.
They dropped the names of the players who cheated. Oh my god. It's time to go pay for a name change.
I see.
Oh, shit.
What about you? But I suppose it's a good enough way to stop re-offenders. Or perhaps it could set a little bit of a perverse incentive, because if you exploit it so hard...
What are the stars? I wonder, like, are these like juicy dragon cunt, you know, like random names like that? I don't know why I just thought of that name. Oh, Jesus, where's my mind going this far? But we all know some WoW player names can be questionable.
That you got named and shamed by NetEase, who knows, maybe that's a badge of honor. Anyway, they did that for Mythic Plus.
That's wild.
3,000 accounts for engaging in win.
It's a Monday set, yeah.
So at least that's how one version of World of Warcraft is dealing with cheaters. We'll have to see what...
Now I want to try and see if I can actually get that name.
Western Blizzard wants to do. Now, I don't bring this up just to laugh. I bring it up because it might actually hint at the real size of World of Warcraft in China. Around 9,000 players had their titles revoked. Now, when you look at the official post, it specifically mentions the Tempered Hero achievement by its Chinese name. That is the title, of course, for being in the top 0.1% of Mythic score. So, if 9,000 players were in the top
reverse engineer the numbers.
That means Mythic Plus has got 9 million active characters on Chinese servers. that's a hell of a lot of characters.
China
and I'm
loves
sure
WoW.
There will be people with multiple characters with that achievement, sure.
True.
For comparison, our Mythic Plus leaderboard only showed 3.5 million characters
Oh.
in Season 1. That's not far off.
More than double.
1/3 of the size of the Chinese population, it seems.
Wow.
Now, of course, this does not account for people not doing Mythic Plus, right? Or the amount of alts that people have. Maybe they just love alts so much more over in China, but at any rate, that's a hell of a lot of people. I guess you can see why NetEase ceremonially rebuilt Gorehowl whenever they renewed the partnership. Let's cap this one off for the last Titan. So, BlizzCon is back. You may not have seen it. It's actually not coming back this year. It's coming back next year, September 2026.
Yeah.
Now, to get the calendar stuff checked, that's basically while we'll be playing perhaps Season 2 of the Midnight expansion. So we'll be doing that. We'll be decorating our houses. And yes, there will be a BlizzCon. Now, after
It's
the
exciting.
last BlizzCon and the anniversary event that they did in London, Toronto, and they're taking to other places in the world, gotta be real, my appetite for it is honestly kind of huge. They're really fun to go to. But this is the news, so what's more important, I guess, is announcements and things. In a way, anything's on the table, but there's one obvious thing in the calendar: The Last Titan, right? This is when The Last Titan will be revealed, almost for sure. And when they do reveal it, I've got to wonder what...
my whole thing is, okay, Last Titan reveal, that's great and everything. What the hell is happening after? Right? I mean, we've seen it with the Infinity Saga. What happens after your biggest saga and your biggest villains bite the dust? What happens to World of Warcraft? I wonder if they're going to mention anything about what's going on post-World Soul Saga. If I had to, probably not, right? They'll save that for another BlizzCon after, during mid-Last Titan maybe. But for now, it's like, okay, Last Titan, great. We're literally going to defeat, like, the Void Lords are going to be gone. The Titans are going to be whatever's going to happen with them. Like, we've dealt with every threat in Azeroth ever. What now? WoW 2? I don't know.
Feature they'll have.
Yeah, WoW 2.
I mean, a Northrend revamp is pretty exciting. Some of the core lore things, maybe Illidan coming back, Sargeras stuff, whatever it may be, that'll all be cool. But player housing was kind of their big surprise.
Most certainly they're working on it. Like, there's no way that they don't have a plan yet for what happens after the World Soul Saga. But I'm interested to know, are they going to tell us that plan?
Cool new feature for Midnight. What will the Last Titan ones be? I'm not exactly sure. Now, for Blizzard, there are, of course, other video games. Over the last while, on their site, we have seen no shortage of job openings for unannounced titles. As an example, there are a few that are for an unannounced Unreal 5 engine game. There's one that sounds like it's for a full-blown AAA game, and another one that sounds like...
Unreal 5 engine WoW 2 game? Maybe, that's what... Maybe? Probably not, but maybe.
A new mobile game. Woohoo.
A new mobile game, yeah.
Plus, I'm also sure it's no coincidence that this
That's a
announcement
guarantee.
came the same day that Johanna Faris finished a big media round. Now, as a part of her media round, she talked to Windows Central. And if you're not aware, by the way, she's the new president of Blizzard. And in the interview, she said they're in time to throw out some curveballs, and she gave a knowing smile when asked about the future of StarCraft. Which at least excites me. I really would like
World of StarCraft?
From what I understand, though, the future of StarCraft is likely not RTS. It is almost certainly shooting or, something.
You know what? To me, the future of StarCraft, you know what it should be. I mean, it's pretty damn obvious. What the hell's that game called with the drop-ins?
Servant.
Johnny.
We have a realm to destroy.
Johnny, thank you for the follow, man. Welcome to our Scourge. What the hell's that game called where, you drop in and you're just fighting like an endless level of Scourge? Helldivers, yes. They got to make a Helldivers version for StarCraft. That's the most obvious thing to me. Just fighting a never-ending wave of aliens. It's such an easy conversion for them. An FPS or a third person, you got your StarCraft Helldivers. I think that'd be very popular. I think that'd be super crazy. Hello Kitty Island, yeah, or that.
Like that. She also said that Blizzard are having conversations about adaptations as well. I guess it's putting the entertainment in Blizzard Entertainment because they're not called Blizzard Games. Obviously, their projects with NetEase failed whenever the companies fell out, but that was years ago. Anyway, by the time BlizzCon comes, it also sounds like that might even be the time to, well, go and launch the Classic Plus idea. To me, it feels like a foregone conclusion, and seriously, there is so much lore that could drive so many things all set before the Burning Crusade, so they could get a shitload of content from Classic Plus. Let's be real, Blizzard are also a business, one owned by Microsoft. They will want more money. We can trust that incentive.
Oh, yeah.
I think that incentive means the Classic Plus makes sense.
Well, when you spend 64 billion, I believe was the number on on acquiring a company, that that company better quickly lay out its plan to make that money back. So yeah, I'm sure Blizzard's got all this shit planned out.
That's it from me. If you want to
There's
catch
big
some
projects
more,
in the
though,
pipeline for
well,
sure.
Xalatath just got owned. You can learn why in the next video.
There it is. And the outro music's loud as shit. Okay, yeah, the volume issues. Bellular, if you're watching my react, which I'm sure you don't. Oh my god, what's going on with the volume? Anyways, great video. Yeah, interesting stuff. BlizzCon's certainly going to be exciting, to say the least.